This is the CHRILLCAST. I'm Chris.
And I'm Will.
And I'm Roanoke.
And hopefully the Google captions below did not read this is the CHRILLCAST like it did last week. But anyways, what is today, Will?
Today is a manic Monday. No, it's not. Crap. It's a
Wild
Card Wednesday. Huh? Do live. Okay. And it's a conversation with the CHRILLCAST.
And before we get into, an hour with Mr. Roanoke at the bottom here, maybe even two, I don't know how long he can talk about himself. We'll figure it out later. What do you want to say as an elevator speech about your channel?
I would say it is basically a channel about the biology and science behind certain types of diseases, creatures housed within, like, for instance, the nervous system eating bug. How exactly do your brains taste to it? Why do your retinas bleed? And, what does a liquefied brain actually produce in terms of usable data for the bug?
There you go. And if you really want to be terrified before you go to sleep, watch some of his more more out there videos, like the nervous system eating bugs. If you really don't want to sleep tonight, you want to feel all tingly inside.
I haven't slept in several weeks, so welcome to the party.
So before we get started, here's a real good question. Wait, is it in the questions already? No, it's not. I have to know, why Roanoke?
Okay, so actually when I was a kid, it's not like an amazing story or anything, but I was actually reading a book about the lost colony of Roanoke. I don't even remember what the book is, to be honest with you. So I was like, oh man, that sucks. But I always thought it was like, it had something more to do with, even as a kid, I thought it had something more to do with the fact that maybe they just got sick and died, and then just they all kind of wandered off in the woods. Who knows? But so as you
Aliens.
know, aliens maybe. I mean, hey, nobody really knows what Croatoan meant that was carved into the tree. So after time passed, I eventually was like, I think I made an Xbox gamer tag, and it was like Ghost Kilo or something like that. And then I think that got banned for some reason. So I was like, all right, well, I guess we'll just go with Roanoke. And originally, I actually had two N's in my name, but I figured it might be hard to spell for people on YouTube, so I just dropped one of the N's. So it became Roanoke Gaming. And
every once in a while on the Roanoke subreddit, people think it's the Roanoke Gaming subreddit and post something about your videos, and it always gets taken down. So they're like, this isn't the right place for that.
So I have probably made Roanoke. Okay, so actually I know exactly what you're talking about. Because that, who doesn't Google themselves, right? Because you want to see how much just complete and utter smack is being talked. So I think I've actually seen something, the Roanoke gaming scene in Virginia or something like that. And every once in a while there'll be a comment on there like, oh, this, there's this guy named Roanoke Gaming, and then they'll just be like viciously attacked. It's like, man. All right, well, sorry about that, Roanoke, Virginia.
Anyway, so Will's got that first question.
Yeah. All right. So question number one: what inspired you to create your YouTube channel?
So I was actually watching Hidden Xperia.
Really?
Oh yeah, Hidden Xperia was like a huge inspiration to me to like go and do YouTube stuff. And actually, he's a bro in real life. So if you ever do get to meet the guy, him and I ended up going and getting some beers with his friends, my fiance. We all were just hanging out. It was a blast. Had a great time. This is out in Seattle for PAX Fest 2018, I think. But so I was watching one day, and I was working in the lab. I went to work, went to the lab, did everything I was doing. I was paying a ton of student loans back because school is expensive and way too expensive. I was like, all right, well, if I want to be done with these student loans before the age of 50, I need to start like doing some side gigs to pay for school. So I started looking up like car washing, detailing, going with Uber, and I actually, while I was like looking all this stuff up, I had one of Hidden Xperia's videos running in the background, and I remember I sat there and watched it for a minute, and I'm like, I wonder how he does all this stuff. Like, where does he get this footage? How does he make the videos this way? How much like does Adobe Premiere cost? Which I know to this day I can't buy Adobe Premiere. I'm still on HitFilm. But so I was just like, well, we'll just check it out. So I started looking around. I was like, well, one of the things that I've always thought was kind of a cool idea was why not just add some science, or at least the things that I know, to video games. And so, like, the original idea I had back in 2002 when I was playing Halo is I remember I was playing with my, and good Lord, this is a long-winded story, but I guess it's all intertwined. 2002, I was playing with my brother. We were playing Halo, and we came across the Sangheili flood, and I shot one, and I was like looking at its spine, and I was like, oh, it's pretty crazy. And then I remember my brother just kept running forward, and I got like force pulled into the hallway because of that.
Yep.
But I'm like, I wonder, if the head is like flopped over to the side, where is like the nervous system of this thing? How does it function? How does it work? And so I was like, well, who knows? Maybe somebody will come up with an idea later. And I just kind of forgot about it until like 2018. And I was like, I wonder if anybody's ever sat down and tried to explain necromorphs. So I looked some stuff up, and, there was the very cursory, oh, this necromorph has, this blade attached, or, this is how it looks like this, but there's no reason why it looks like this. It just looks like this. So I was like, well, surely some of the bone material from like the leg got moved into the arms via osteoclast breaking down the bones. So maybe I could talk about that. And it just kind of, exploded from there. But main reason, I was going to see if I could make like $100 a month off of it. And I just happened to have an idea that not many people did. I got lucky in that aspect, I reckon.
Yeah, I've got some requests later on for you on what you should be covering in the future.
Hey, man.
Yep.
I keep a sticky notes with all the stuff that I get in comments.
Oh, no, you're glitching into the Matrix.
Oh, no.
That fixed it.
Yeah.
So I just got to remove you from the call, and then not remove you from the call. That's a mistake. That happened once.
Shift
I
me
removed
from the call. There you go.
I gotta put you up in the top rafters of the Skype
Like
thing and bring you
dreams,
back. No,
It's not inspiring enough. So
you'll see it in the podcast next week. Well, we accidentally did it to Rin. I accidentally booted her from the call altogether, and she was like, what?
Well, see ya, I guess.
All right. So the next question. Did you finish? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. It was perfect timing. And
Okay.
She had some requests, but I was like, yeah, I keep sticky notes, basically of what people request on the channel, and I try to get to all of it. But it's like every time you make a video, you get like 100 requests. And it's like, I can give it the old college try.
Well, if you ever need an electrical guy to help you out, let me know.
There you go. Well,
All right.
maybe you can figure out why my power bill went up to $600 a month recently.
I might be able to figure it out, but we might need to walk through your kitchen and see what appliances are on or something. No.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much what I at this point.
So how would you describe your relationship with YouTube and social media?
I'd say like a disgruntled employee. It's a company, right? And as a company, they've got certain rules and regulations that they need to follow that are set down, and because they need to follow those, I have to follow them. Because I have to follow them, content can get altered, I suppose. But I would say the biggest thing, and you guys will actually come to find this the longer you're on YouTube, is I don't even really know if I'm supposed to say this, but let's say you okay, let me see here. Let me see if I can put this the right way. The chaos that is YouTube is intentional. Because if YouTube knew everything that was going on with YouTube, then they would be in big trouble. Yeah. So it's like, for instance, let's say something gets demonetized, right? Well, you can upload the same video 10 times and have 9 people demonetize it, but one person is like, no, it's good to go. It's totally fine. And that's because there are no rules that are written. So it's basically like, people get angry at YouTubers like, oh, you're just trying to monetize and yada, yada, yada. And what happened to, free speech? And to me, it's just kind of one of those situations where, people are trying to make a living, and it's not like you're discussing with a human being on why your video
No.
got the yellow symbol of doom. It's just more or less like, oh, it just happened. You know, you can dispute it, but odds are you're still not going to win. So it's just with YouTube, I like to have backup plans. I like to have backup plans on backup plans. And, you know, I hope that YouTube continues into the future, and I hope that it continues to grow in popularity, because any direct growth in popularity, people might find my content, which is what I want ultimately. But I have my concerns for, let's say, 10 years from now, if this site's still going to be around. But then again, they call me a pessimist. You know, so I'd say that. But as far as social media is concerned, I'd say the biggest thing is just, oh my God, Twitter is a cesspool. I go on there, and sometimes I'll just click on, like, the trending tab, or not really trending tab, but, like, the random things that are trending, which is, it's always politics.
Oh, yeah.
And I just see this plethora of nonsense, just people spewing hate and anger no matter what side they're on. It's like, oh my God. This is awful. So but the cool thing about, I guess, Twitter or Discord or Facebook or anything like that, which, by the way, I almost inadvertently doxed myself on Facebook, but we'll get to that in a second. You know, it's cool. It's cool that I can interact with people, right? So, like you guys, for instance, you know, well, I mean, if you emailed me, I would have definitely checked it, but, you know, you reached out on Twitter and I was able to see it. I was like, oh yeah, no, absolutely. That's cool. I would love to be a part of it. So I think a lot of, like, collaborations and stuff can come from social media, but as far as putting my opinion on social media or anything like that,
No.
I'm like, nah. I'll discuss that with people, like, for instance, Roanoke Gaming. You know, I talked, like, him and I went to PAX South, and we hung out. You know, we talked about the politics of life and what's going on in science and just all that stuff. But when it comes to social media, you know, I've had people ask me, you know, personal questions. I'm like, nope. No one needs to really know about what I think in my personal life. So, you know, I find a lot of creators, they get around, you know, 100K subs or something, and they suddenly start thinking everybody cares about their opinion. I've been a big proponent of, it doesn't matter how big my channel gets, nobody cares about my opinion. So, you gotta stay humble in that aspect. But I would say that's my thing, as I like to keep them at arm's length. But Facebook doxing was kind of stupid. I actually, so in my last Necromorph video that I put out, I think it was the Nest Growmorph or whatever, I did a shout out to a Facebook group called Necroposting, which is like just the dumbest Dead Space memes you've ever seen in your life. But that's what makes them great, because it's like I get all of the references. And well, everybody realized then that I was in the actual group for Necroposting. So I was like, oh shit. And then one guy, like, I was going through the comments and reading them, and then one guy's like, what was it? Didn't his fiance say his name in one of his live streams? And it was in like hour 2 of The Last of Us 2, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go back and watch it. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, I have to change my name. So I changed my name on Facebook so that I wouldn't get doxxed.
That's crazy.
Don't make the mistake I've made a few times where when you're looking at Facebook pages, like I'll post our stuff on our Facebook page for the group, but every once in a while I'll be like, Facebook doesn't tell you when you're interacting as yourself or your page, and I like to usually interact as my page when I'm trying to share things with other people. And I realized one time I had shared like 6 things on my personal profile, and I was like, oh shoot.
There you go. Nicely done.
I was like, no.
I mean, that's how it goes, though, man. You know, it's like technology. I wouldn't say we're boomers, but it's like, I don't know, man. It's tough. It's tough.
I feel like dumber every day.
Hey, you know what?
There's that YouTube channel, Smarter Every Day. No, I'm dumber every day.
Dumber every day. Well, if you watch Smarter Every Day, it cancels out.
Yeah, exactly. But I was gonna say before, Twitter. The only reason I'm on Twitter is to literally meet up with people like you.
Yeah.
And the other creators. I literally have no other business being on Twitter.
You know what? That's not a problem. Like, I totally understand that. Like, once you step into Twitter, it's
Yeah,
like you gotta be careful, man. You can walk outside and say, "Hey, the sky is blue today," and then somebody like a continent away is like, "Fuck you, the sky is gray," and then they retweet it like, "Who's this jerk who's got blue skies?" It's like,
Yeah.
what? So yeah, no, I understand, man. That's how it goes.
And just for the record, we are a politics-free channel, so you don't have to worry about that.
Oh yeah, no, that's
Unless you disagree with us.
politics free, unless.
All right, well, you got
man.
that next question.
Yeah. Okay. I think you kind of touched us on this already, but what made you decide to cover science in games and movies?
So, all right. So I'm a big proponent of you need to pivot, right? Because a lot of channels they don't pivot with their content. They make the same content over and over and over and over again. And I might find myself eventually, when I've hit every wall of knowledge that I have and ability, that I might fall into the same category. But to me, I wanted to cover movies because I was covering nothing but video games. And I've always liked the idea of covering movies too. I was a little kind of hesitant of it for about a year and a half into the channel because I didn't really know how I would break it down. I didn't want to just start like covering stuff and sounding like a complete idiot on plot synopsis, which if you go into my comments, I'm a complete idiot anyways, apparently, on a lot of things.
I like your plot synopsis. Usually it's pretty funny and tongue-in-cheek, so.
All right, well, thank you. I appreciate that. So I guess it's just, science is, I love science. I took human anatomy courses in high school, and then I started getting really heavily into microbiology as well as human physiology classes in college. And like I said, it was just a natural progression of remembering back to when I was a kid. I was like, all right, well, why is this flood like this? And then the love of my life, Dead Space, came out in 2008.
Don't tell your fiance.
I know. she knows what the score is. So I was just like, man, you know what? It's just a really, really cool thing to be able to cover this stuff and like discuss why things are different. In fact, have you guys heard of negative atmosphere at all?
Give me a little bit of an intro to it, and then I might know what you're talking about.
So basically, it's kind of like it's being worked on right now, which is why you probably haven't heard much about it. But it's basically, I think he's now this 18-year-old over in England. I won't say his name because I don't want to dox him. But if you get the chance after all this interview and stuff, look up Negative Atmosphere. It's actually on my channel. He's basically creating this game. It started out as like a spiritual inspiration from Dead Space, and it's just blossomed into this whole new thing, and it's about body gore and different types of creatures formed from this specific thing that causes it in the game. But I signed an NDA with it, so I can't talk too much about it, or at least give away details on it. But essentially, I'm writing a lot of, I guess, the background lore for the creatures and why they are the way they are. And I'll tell you, man, it gets like super deep into like genetics and biology and stuff. So it's just stuff like that. I think it's like really, really cool. So science just in video games came naturally. A lot of people, sometimes they disagree because they're like, oh, the lore is already set. And I happen to find a gray area to operate in, I suppose. But I guess how I ultimately decided just seemed like it'd be fun.
Yeah, I will say, like, not necessarily disagreeing with like lore aspects. I like watching your videos just to expand on some of the lore that's like in the games or in the movies. I do think it's funny though how sometimes you try to apply like actual biological principles, and it's like you can't really fit the movie logic into it though. So it's like I always find that super entertaining because they usually make a comment about it. It's like I'm just gonna go with this essentially, and I don't know,
man.
there's so many even in this video, I think you made the point. It was like I don't know how they would have adapted this way if they can leave the cave, because you see them hunting outside. So
it's like, why would they become what they were?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, look at that thing. That is ugly. So it's just like, bro, leave the cave.
Yeah. No.
I mean, I do run into that issue. There's some times when I'm just like, it is just not possible to rationalize what
Starship
this creature
Troopers.
is. You can kind of actually, oh god, I'm pixelating. You can rationalize, oh my god, so I don't know if you guys actually saw the first Starship Troopers I did, but I got really salty when it was based on what the actual arachnids, which they're not even arachnids, by the way, what they were breathing. And because the reason I got salty is because, do you guys know antlions from Half-Life?
I think so.
So, you know how they're almost exactly like the arachnids?
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
So, and I believe you you might know this since you're working with insects, or not? Are you working with insects, or are you working with how they pollen? Okay, so once an insect reaches a certain size, it actually can suffocate under its own body because there's not enough.
That's why the
PhD right there. Yes, thank you. So that means the atmosphere would need a higher amount of oxygen to support that type of animal.
Or at the very least, you have to be at the bottom of the ocean, so you have like your weight suspended. But
there you go. And I mean, that's kind of one of the things I didn't cover, but maybe the exoskeleton's really, really hard. But I'll tell you, man, it was like people got really upset, and they're like, well, why not breathe nitrogen then? How do you know they're not breathing nitrogen? And it's an inert gas. And I believe, and feel free to correct me on this, but nitrogen doesn't have the same capability of oxygen concerning metabolism.
It doesn't. There's a reason why most organisms use oxygen.
Yeah. And people were so upset. Like, no, you suck. You're so wrong. Like, how am I wrong?
Yeah, it's the same idea as like why most plants are green. There's a reason why they are absorbing the red light versus green light.
Roanoke, going forward, every video, he's going to be looking for Will's comment. Yep, you were right. Or nope, you were wrong.
Well, yeah, so I made a comment on one of your videos. I was like, this is great, but this is like the time scale doesn't make any sense. I think I'm in the comments. Like, I don't want to be one of those people trying to argue a movie plot, but
no, dude. Hey, man, feel free. Like, the whole point of science is I don't want to go forward and be like, obviously everything can evolve in 12 minutes. It's going to be fine. So if I'm wrong on something, please just let me know.
Yeah, it's like, don't go back and look for my comments, please.
He's going to be filtering Will the Thrill 92 on every single video now.
Hey, I have a couple of channels. I didn't
Oh, there you go.
Same.
Yeah, he's nice looking for...
It's going to be like you arguing with me, and then just a random other channel appears like, yeah, no, this other guy...
Big Science Pickle Will 95.
It's all just variants of Will. Will I Am. Oh, okay.
Whoa, the artist Will I Am. Huh?
Guy,
it's like, dang, man, I must be really wrong here.
Got the Black Eyed Peas arguing science with me.
Exactly. He's from the year. Well, he's got a buddy from the year 3000, right? Andre.
Yeah, Andre 3000.
Yeah. How that works.
Okay. So have you ever, this is a great segue. Have you ever gotten something seriously wrong in one of your videos, and what was the response?
Yes, and I can know.
Yeah, I've gotten something so wrong that today, I actually got a comment today. It's like, no, you're wrong. I'm like, yes, I know. And it's that freaking catfish from Metro Exodus.
Oh,
I swear to God. Nobody will let that go. Okay, so here's my thinking on the catfish from Metro Exodus. Here in the South, our catfish don't have teeth. At least I've never been bitten by a catfish, and I've had my hands. It's not. You more get stung by them with their whiskers or whatever it is.
Yeah, you can get like little barbs. Yeah, they hurt.
Those hurt bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking at this thing, and I'm like, well, this has teeth, and it's a bigger animal, and judging by the humanimal size, which is not much bigger than a human, but
is it this video? No. Which one is it?
Let's see. Keep going. Oh, fun fact: the actual shrimp video got tweeted out by the PR team for Metro as like it became certified lore. I remember the starfish. There it is.
There it is. Okay.
Okay. So, all right. So a humanimal. That's a humanimal, by the way. It looks like a human. It's roughly the same size as a human. It's not like these creatures become gigantic, except for the demon, which was probably either a bat or a cat. But the way it looks, the frigid waters it's in, like everything told me that even though it says like the achievement, it's a catfish, it just did not seem like a catfish to me. And I made like a lot of points in there about the eye location, the size of it, what the tail looks like. And I still think to this day it's an orca. or
Okay.
killer whale. Excuse me, killer whale's an orca. Yeah,
Yeah, same thing.
yeah. So it looks like a orca, killer whale, whatever. And I mean, there. Okay, so just give it a second. That thing, right?
Yeah, I can kind of see it.
So
Where's the fluke?
I don't know, man. It's just it had to have changed somehow, correct?
Yep.
You know, it is, but you know, it is apparently it is catfish. So I took it. What was my response at the beginning? I'm like, well, you know, I think I presented what I thought was correct.
Mhm.
And probably about a month after that, I'm like, yeah, you guys might be right. And then now it's just like I don't even answer the comments anymore. I'm just like, just let me have your hate. I don't care
Mhm.
anymore.
It's actually
Like,
a
you'll find some
polywog.
other things. So what's that?
It's actually a polywog.
Polywog, yes. Oh my god.
I love these comments. I'm sorry. Catfish don't have teeth. Looks at scar on my hand. Are you sure about that?
I mean, some do, but
I have seen catfish with teeth before. I will admit.
I
have
don't
seen
think
them.
the
I've
ones
never
here
seen a
have them,
catfish
Chris.
with teeth before.
What was that?
You know, I'm like,
I don't think the ones here have them.
No, I think I was in California when I saw him.
well, see, it's a whole other part of the planet. Technically. It's like 3,000 miles away.
Yeah, fair
Yeah.
enough.
Who knows why they need those teeth?
I'm gonna look this up a little later. I mean, it turns out catfish in Michigan have teeth. You owe me a beer.
I mean, I'll get a beer anyway, but the thing is, like, I don't think I've ever seen them with teeth, and not the sandpaper teeth like bass have. That doesn't count.
Yeah, like real teeth, like
Yeah.
teeth. And that's what killer whales have. They have teeth.
Yes, they do. I've seen
What
tons
do
of
the teeth
videos on
look
killer
like in this
whales.
creature? Are they canonical? Are they all uniform in shape?
I'm fair. Well, you know, that's the problem.
He's about to look this up. He's like,
Yeah, because I know I can't remember specifically what kind of teeth killer whales have.
They have the, I think it's conical. I don't know. I can't remember. They're all the same shape though.
Yeah. So to answer your question, yes, the catfish actually does have canonical teeth.
Yeah, so it could actually be a whale.
Yeah, I still
Yeah.
think it is a whale, but a man can
Catfish
only
don't have
argue for
canonical
so
teeth.
long.
look, just because the video game developers don't have the background in biology doesn't mean that they're right.
That's another thing is like, do you ever run into that? It's like you have to, where they just made something because it looked cool or sounded cool on paper, and like literally makes no sense.
Well, like I said, I have a legitimate 100% that has happened. I think a lot of video game creators, they make something because it looks cool. There's not really a reason for it. It is, right?
Mhm.
Well, that's the thing about humans is even though we don't know something, sometimes we just stumble into stuff. Take like sci-fi from the 50s, right?
Yeah.
Well, they theorized by the year 1990 or 2000 that we would have things in our pockets or that we could just communicate with each other. I mean, look at Star Trek. They were able to talk to each other before the cell phone even was created, right? So it's basically, I think some people just luck into stuff. And in fact, I did a video on the shrimp from Metro
Exodus.
Last Light.
Oh, last light.
And
okay.
also, yeah, Metro Last Light, Metro, it's called Redux.
Yeah.
And so basically, in the first game, the shrimp are under the ground, they're breeding, they're in the metro, and it's winter up top. And in the second game, it's spring, and then there's males up top too, and the females are coming up as well. So in my video, apart from annihilating them on a course, I was kind of like, well, you know, to me, that's part of their breeding cycle, right? And I assumed that when they created the game, they kind of had a similar thought. Well, like I said, it's become lore now that that's the case because I made that video. So it's just kind of cool. It's like, oh, well, they contacted me like, that's a really cool idea. We didn't think about that. And I was like, well then, all right, yeah, hey man, feel free to take that. That's totally fine. So,
Actual
Yeah, well-
footage of Bill the Krill playing.
Yeah.
and I mean, kind of goes with this this podcast too. You know,
Mhm, it does.
We lucked into that, right? No.
So just real quick though. So as far as the cell phone thing, is it the reason why we have that technology? Do you think it's because people who are creating it looked back and like that sounds like a cool idea? I want to create that now.
It's
So
possible.
is the sci-fi driving actual like future technology
Oh
projection?
no, it definitely is, Will. 100%. I can answer that question for you. I took so many computer science classes where they actually said like the origin of this was some kind of sci-fi writing was inspired this creation of this object. So like realistically, creative writers have inspired so much in the computer science and the electrical engineering aspects that it's almost like they predict it by it existing in fictional works and somebody saying that's a great idea, let's bring it to life.
That does not bode well for the 40K universe. Oh crap!
Jurassic Park's coming. No.
Jurassic Park is coming. We're gonna screw that up at one point.
I sure hope so. I can't wait. I'm so excited. I would pay all of my money to go to Jurassic Park.
We'll expecting Jurassic Park. We end up with Metro Exodus. Close enough.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, well, it's like even to that though, like these games that go on. This is completely unrelated, but sort of related. When they have like the nuclear fallout and it has like all these animals become mutated, I had such a hard time believing that you would actually have entire species created in like that amount of time, where you have entire like, breeding populations and they have like their own behaviors and everything like that. Because what are the chances that you would have that many organisms mutate in a similar enough way that they would actually be, viable, be behaviorally different enough that they would actually create a different population, different species. Do you see my question there? Yes.
No.
Can I jump in with a meme?
Sure.
Yes.
Jump in.
Clearly, Will, you don't have the male prowess of Genghis Khan, and you can't create your own species by having one mate with the whole population. No.
Exactly. I would say personally, the whole thing with specifically Metro, which was unbeknownst to me at the time in my early videos, but then I figured that out later in the later videos. So the United States didn't just drop nukes on Russia. They also dropped specific mutagenic bombs that were designed to basically just totally... Can we cuss on this?
Yeah, dude, you've already done quite a bit.
Oops. Yeah. It's like a second language to me. It basically just shit cans your DNA, right? And that's what the whole game plan was. And it appears that it attacked certain types of genes, right? Like specific genes in living animals, whether they were human or any other, population. But I think what happened was it was not supposed to be used together. It was supposed to be used separate. Like you can either drop a nuke or you can drop a mutagenic bomb, but if you drop both, you're going to screw up everything. So instead of destroying genes in people and basically taking them out of the game, what it looks like to me is, coupled with the radiation, ironically, that's what kept things alive, because it changed the genes enough that when the mutagenic bomb changed them, it didn't kill the animal. It just caused it to become grotesquely deformed, like what we see here. Just growth. But would behaviors arise, and would a female shrimp even know to look at a male shrimp that's now way more massive than her? Probably not. No.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. Is like this is cool. Just don't question it too much. Which is why, honestly, I love your videos, because a lot of times look at these things like, man, I can't figure out how to make this work, but you'll actually have come up with a plausible explanations. It's like, huh, that actually when you look, squint your eyes, that totally makes sense.
When you squint your eyes and your glasses are at lens crafters and you have an eye infection, that looks all
I
right.
wouldn't go that far, but usually it's really interesting to listen to, because it's really fascinating.
I would love if at one point in one of your videos you're just like, and in consulting for this video, I reached out to Dr. Will.
There you go.
And have a short bit of him saying, well, actually, guys, don't try and disprove Roanoke. Here's why this works.
Yes, an actual doctor, finally. It'll really just say, yeah, no, this is completely wrong. Well,
let me whip out the Sean Connery voice. Well, actually,
Oh, the shot there. You do have to bust out the voice for that.
All right, here. Will, you got the next question?
I don't know what question we're on right now.
Number 5. We're only halfway there.
What are some things you have learned about the? Oh, goodness gracious, I am blind. What are some things you have learned about content creation?
A, it's frustrating. I think a lot of people, I only recently got an editor, so that kind of took off some of the workload, I suppose. But I've kind of put that back into writing longer videos now, and I guess one of the things I learned is you can't just cram a bunch of fluff into it. It's actually got to be like, if the video has to be, some people put 10 minutes and 1 second as their video, right? Because they want mid rolls or something like that. But to me, that's kind of a jerk move. You need to basically have your content be worth the time, I suppose. And sometimes it's really hard to write, all of that content and get it right and make it make sense. And I go back and listen to some of my videos, and I'll say I'm going to make a point at the beginning, and then I never make that point, and I'm like, whoops. It's just keeping vigilant, and really, I guess what I've learned most is don't take anything personally. People are going to bash you because you could be a YouTuber, and if you have anything over 50,000 subs, people assume that you're like this corporate entity. Now that, I've got a PR team, and everything's good to go, and I never see any of the comments, or people just bash me and they're like, oh, you're an idiot. And it's just it can wear people down a little bit, so you gotta get thicker skin. You gotta not argue with people, which is tough for me because I love arguing. And you gotta just not take stuff so seriously. And the other big thing is you gotta look out for your own mental health, because your content creation is great, but if you don't realize you're getting burnt out, if you try to keep outdoing yourself every single month, bro, you get so depressed. It's like you'll be sitting there like, I hate all of this. That's what I learned about content creation. It can be, it's amazing in itself, right? Like how you get things done and what you can create. But it's sort of like, if you've always had these ideas in your head on what to create, once you create it, it's no longer just yours. It's everybody that watches. It's everybody that shows up to criticize you, and you thought something was a cool idea, and now it's like, oh, well, maybe it wasn't really that cool of an idea. So it's just, you can't be so, I guess, influenced by your content. You just gotta like what you create.
Mm-hmm. As you go right to the Matrix.
Exactly.
So we learned our lesson about that. Honestly, we've already had that situation occur with us. We were like, hey, let's postulate what would happen in Back to the Future 4. Well, apparently you just can't talk about Back to the Future 4 ever. You just can't.
Is there like a ravenous fan base there?
Oh yeah.
I posted it. I posted our video to the subreddit and said, "Hey, here's some of our ideas on Back to the Future 4," and just like I had to delete my post. That's how bad it got. Like,
oh my God.
It was like 50 plus comments of "You're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong," and then on top of that, there was these really nasty comments where it's like, here's why you're wrong, and you guys just are not fans of Back to the Future, and just a whole bunch of nasty stuff after that. I was like, whoa, I'm not touching this ever again.
I'm gonna make a Back to the Future 4 video just so I can stir the pot now. That sounds fantastic.
You'll get engagement. It just might not be what you want.
No.
Hey man, every dislike, YouTube doesn't care. That's still a like.
It's engagement, right? It all counts.
Exactly. Everything's engaged. It's totally fine. Not a problem at all.
Yeah, that's good advice though. Like a lot of people don't think about the thick skin, and like somewhere in the middle, they're like, "Oh crap, I'm getting all these negative comments," and it's like, how do you deal with that? That's a good point.
Yeah.
Let's see here. What is the most rewarding part then, on a more positive note?
I would say I've had two of the most rewarding parts about this. It's a two-parter. The first is a lot of people, they're like, man, I didn't know anything, because they didn't know anything about science. And it's like I start half a sentence, but then like I jump to the next sentence.
I do that too.
So they didn't know anything about science, or they didn't know a lot about biology. Biology's boring to them because they show up to high school or college, and it's like, well, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. And it's just exactly, it's just boring. It's like, wow, great, I love organelles. This is amazing. But it's like, but when all those things come together, that's what life is, and that's the beauty of it, and how everything works, and how all of our cells are replaced, yet we're still the same. Well, not all of our cells. We're even on an atomic level. All of our atoms are replaced, yet we're still the same. And, you know, the rewarding part is it seems like because of this channel, a lot of people are interested in science that may not have been interested in science. And God knows we need some people interested in legitimate science nowadays and not just what's, you know, fun science, I suppose, like what's actual literal science, you know. I know I'm not supposed to mention something, but there's something that we now have a countermeasure for, and it's because of people who are interested in science that were able to make it, and it's going to, you know, save millions, if not billions of lives in the long run. So
and create a you know, I Am Legend scenario, but that's totally okay.
Exactly. And if that happens, well, oops.
As long as I get the Mustang. That's
Metro Exodus, here we go.
There you go. There you go. So I would say that's the first thing. Is that's the most rewarding part. Is, you know, the science that I've had people message me saying, you know, man, I was kind of on the fence, and I don't know if this is true or not, or if they're just, you know, saying it to say it, but people message me and they're like, man, you know, I wasn't really that interested in science, but after watching your stuff, it's like I kind of started looking into biology and I really like it. And it's like, well, there you go. There's somebody who might be able to unlock the cure for cancer right now just because they watched a video online and it was interesting enough that it captured their attention. And I would say the other rewarding thing is, which everybody assumes is an insult to me, but I'm really just like, hey, man, happy to help, especially because if you have it on autoplay. Some people are like, every night before I go to bed, I just play your videos because I don't know what it is about your voice puts me to sleep. I'm like, well,
Okay.
I'm like, that is not an insult at all. And you know what? If it's like some people are like, I have insomnia, and it's nice to have somebody there just talking. And, you know, you don't really have any, like, I guess I don't have these high highs and low lows in my voice. So I wouldn't say I'm monotone, but I would say it's on an equal playing field enough that people are like, it just helps me sleep. So I was like, well,
That explains why I'm so tired at work.
there you go.
Coming to a channel near you, Roanoke ASMR. No.
Hey, man, you know, one of the things why I started Roanoke Tales was because there was a lot of people requesting, you know, just, hey, can you make longer videos? And I'm like, not really. I mean, it's really, really hard already. I'm like, but maybe I could like read stories or something. So I've got one of my videos up that's like 2 hours long on that channel, and it's just I'm reading a story, and people seem to like it. So I'm like, well, you know, as long as you guys like it, I'll keep doing it. And I mean, I've always enjoyed telling stories, anyways, obviously. So, you know, I could say that's definitely a rewarding thing.
All right, let's see here. Oh, you got the next one, Will.
Yeah. So what do you like to do in your downtime when you're not online?
I go to the gym. And even when I'm not online, I'm still online. Like I play a lot of World of Warcraft, and I play Realms on Minecraft. I work on. Currently, God. So let me regale you with a tale. I have a '66 Mustang that I restored, and it's restored is a very generous term, because I put it back together correctly-ish, and it was overheating really bad. So me and my friends went to my bachelor party, and it overheated on the highway. So that sucks. We had to pull over and let it cool off for 10 minutes. Eventually we got to where we were going, but it started to really annoy me. I was like, man, you know, there's some stuttering in the engine, and it's overheating. So finally, it's like, all right, I'm going to have to tear this thing back down. So like the last couple of days, I've been just tearing the car apart, trying to get it back in proper condition. So first thing I found was, like an idiot, I only had about a half gallon of coolant in my car. It's, I mean, the Mustang only takes probably about 1.5 gallons, but that means I'm 1 gallon short. So
Right.
It's like, oh, wow, what a surprise. Also, the guy who actually owned the Mustang before me, he had the thermostat, which is in between the engine block and the radiator hose. And what it does, when it gets to a certain temperature, it opens up and it cools the engine block. This dude glued it shut. So I had to remove that. I don't even know how the engine was staying cool at all at that point, so it's just a miracle. And so I'm like just tearing it apart, getting everything fixed. And then today, it was still stuttering. And I'm like, God, what is wrong with this thing? So it turns out when I was installing the carburetor, I think I over-torqued one of the bolts. and I may have to fix that because now there's a giant vacuum leak. So I've also been doing that, trying to fix that. I got to get a new carburetor for it. And yeah, so I mean, work on cars, hang out with family when I can, and with the state of the planet right now, it gets kind of tough. But just yeah, I guess that's what everybody else does.
Searches for the catfish with teeth.
What?
I said you're searching for the catfish with teeth.
Oh, I'm gonna find the catfish with teeth. I'll tell you that. I do. Apparently, it's in California or Michigan.
Yep.
Maybe we'll figure it out.
You gotta go to Antarctica and use a penguin as bait. They didn't catch it.
I'm telling you, man, whatever that small town was outside of Moscow that they go to in Metro Exodus, I'm gonna go out there, and if there's no catfish with teeth, I'm gonna take a picture and be like,
yeah, well, that's a good point. I mean, there's definitely catfish with teeth out in Asia.
Yeah, but this thing has canonical teeth.
Yeah, exactly. You're totally right, man.
I didn't mean to spin this up again. I'm sorry, guys. I was just making a joke.
From the pot.
Which apparently you like to do when you're not doing your content.
Hey, what is life? Not just constant strife.
So what are some of your favorite books, movies, and games? Is it like when you're not online, when you're not doing your content, like when everybody's away from you and you're doing your own thing, what do you like to read, game, or watch?
Let's see. I mean, as far as reading goes, I like to read creepypastas, I suppose. I like to read just creepy stuff about cryptids and what's happening in the wilderness. And as far as classical books are concerned, don't really read them too much. I usually fall asleep, which sounds really, really bad. I know it makes me sound like a total jerk, but I've pretty much switched over to complete digital as far as reading stories and stuff. Yeah. Games, like I said, World of Warcraft, huge nerd in that. I've been playing since 2004. I just never stopped. Let's see. And Minecraft, play Halo. I like to play Dead Space. I'll play all 3 games probably about once every 6 months. Just run.
That's pretty often, actually.
That's pretty much my routine with Halo and Fable, actually.
There you go. I did play. What did you think of? You could be just as what is it? Fable Online, or the last Fable game they said was going to be released, or something?
Oh, Fable Legends.
Yeah, Fable Legends. There we go.
Weren't you in the beta for that, Will?
I was in the beta for that. So basically what happened is they spent $75 million on it, and Microsoft said nope. they I don't know. It was during that dark time of Xbox where they had people who didn't understand gamers in the gaming market, and they wanted everything to be an online game and make buku bucks like World of Warcraft or League of Legends or something. And Fable just isn't that. And the person who was in charge of it, actually, I don't remember the guy's name now.
Was it Matrick?
No, not of Xbox. Of Lionhead Studios at the time. He wanted a AAA free-to-play game, and those two words should not really go together.
Yeah.
So he wanted a game that. The thing is, what they did with the Unreal Engine for that game is actually kind of amazing. If you ever look into it, people at Epic still owns Unreal, right? They use the different tool sets that game made and integrate it into Unreal still, even though that game doesn't exist. So they created an entire new lighting system that was pretty incredible. And anyway, so they spent $75 million on this game that they canceled because it's this game isn't fun. It's not something that people are going to come back to day after day and spend thousands of dollars on.
Yeah. Damn. Bummer.
Yeah.
So are you into the Fable games? I guess that's a long-winded.
Yeah, I was. I played the second and third one. I didn't ever play the first one.
Okay, we'll stop now.
So is the first one actually good?
Yeah.
Well, we're stopping the podcast, and you're going to spend the next 12 hours playing Fable 1.
Yeah, it probably won't. It depends on how fast you go. They probably won't even take you that long to beat it. But I think Fable 1 is definitely the best. I would recommend playing Anniversary just because it looks nicer, and the UI is a little bit less clunky. There are lots of glitches, but I mean, they all have that.
I mean, what's the game without glitches?
Yeah. But in my opinion, the first one is the best, though I understand why people like the second one more than the first one.
Yeah.
The third one's garbage. Don't bring it up.
I like the third one.
I like the third one.
I love the
You know-
the creature in the tunnels on that island. I can never remember the name of it.
The crawler.
The crawler.
The thing is, so my computer's freaking out now.
Well, it's okay over
It's
here.
reached
So
its maximum
Okay, so well, I have like a login
back
for
to the
my
whales
work,
again.
and like it sometimes takes over my computer. So anyway, for Fable 3, they dumbed everything down. I realize this is totally off topic, but you no longer can like interact with NPCs with the expression that you want, and the combat system is terrible. So
I just tried to put enough money in the bank to stop. What was it, like the shadows or something?
Mhm.
Like after you took over as king, it's like, well, you can either kill everybody and save the kingdom, or you can let everybody live and then they die. It's like, okay, what if I make enough pies?
Mhm.
So, anyways, after about 4 hours, I gave up. But you know, oh well, what are you gonna do? But
Mhm.
I felt the same way about Minecraft 4K. When they hyped it up, they're like, the 4K environment is going to be so great. And I was like, oh, I'm so ready. And just never heard another word about it. It's like,
Yeah, I still like when they introduce new animals to Minecraft. Like that's a whole cool thing with the biomes and everything.
yeah, the bees.
All right, well, you got that next question.
Okay. What are some of your favorite content creators online besides like
Wow, Such Gaming and Hidden Xperia.
exactly? I see that you put his channels on there. That doesn't make any sense, Chris.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, Croto Science, Roanoke Tales, and Roanoke Games. I mean, they're pretty good. Like, you know, I don't know.
That was me making a joke. Just
Yeah.
putting them in there.
Well, you know, I still got to brag on my boy Wow Such Gaming because
Fair enough. We're gonna talk about him on Tuesday though too.
exactly. But you know, just a little snippet. That is one of my favorite channels. Hidden Xperia, great channel. But I will say, it's okay to be smart. Absolutely love it. Whenever I'm feeling extra angsty, I'll listen to Imp Lemon complain about something.
Was it Imp Lemon?
Imp Lemon. Yeah, he gets a little inflammatory on stuff, but
Oh, Imp Lemon.
you know,
Okay.
he's just got very brazen, whatever type of personality and humor. I like it. I think it's kind of funny. Who else? Actman's pretty good. Always enjoy him. Wisefish Gaming. If you guys have ever wanted to just chill out and watch somebody talk about a video game, good stuff,
Yeah.
bad stuff. Smaller channel, but the dude does phenomenal work.
Yeah, I enjoyed
I
it.
second that. I got to talk to him for like 4 hours when we interviewed him.
Oh yeah, dude, he's such a cool dude. So he's just a very chill man. So
Now,
like, I go
does
and
he
listen
happen to
to
be
his
your
stuff when I
editor?
gotta relax.
Does he happen to be your editor?
He does.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like
So-
everybody we've interviewed that's had like above 100,000 is like Wisefish is my editor, and it's like who doesn't he edit for at this point? You know.
I don't want to take credit for that, but I remember he was asking, like, you know, hey, do you know anybody that wants editing? I'm like, get back to you in like 1 minute. And I went and I asked everybody, I'm like, hey, I got this editor, and they're like, hell yeah.
Yeah, Forge Labs too. He was another one. I was surprised.
Forge Labs may have been before me though, technically. I think I may have been like the second guy. But like I said, I don't want to brag, but you know, I think
Don't want to brag, but I'm going to.
I don't want to
exactly.
brag.
I think I definitely brought them in some work. So
And I know he's gonna watch this one because he's watched all the people he edits for. He's watched all of our interviews with them, so he's gonna see
there you
this.
go. He's gonna see this. So shout out to Wisefish Gaming. Go watch his stuff and subscribe.
I'll put a link to his channel in the card things.
Perfect. The card things. What else? There's a lot of random stuff I watch. I mean, really, you cannot beat TikTok cringe. If you really want to feel your soul leave your body,
Oh my
it's a
gosh.
great time.
Oh God.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I already hate it.
Nope, I can't do it.
Like I said, if you want to feel your soul, just goodbye. Oh my God, TikTok cringe is the way to go. But yeah, I say those are the main channels I watch.
Okay.
Cool. All right, I got the last question, Will. I promise I'll finish this up real nice here for you.
There you go.
Is there anything that we have missed or that you would like to discuss or that you would like to ask us?
Yeah, well, what made you guys want to get into YouTube?
You know, I answer this question like every single time, and I don't think Will's ever answered why he joined
Yeah.
to do this with me.
It's because
so.
Chris dragged me into kicking and screaming.
There you go.
No, so the thing is, we used to live. Well, still don't live like in the same house, but we used to live really far apart because I lived in Missouri, and we found ourselves not really ever talking. So, you know, we had some ideas of how we could talk more, and Chris was like, "Let's do a podcast on gaming." I'm like, "Okay." And then suddenly he had it ready. It's like, oh crap, this is a real idea. And you know,
I was joking.
and then we started going, and I don't think we've missed well, there's like 1 week we've missed in a year.
Yeah.
And yeah, so every week we talk, and now it's really blossomed into this thing where we get to talk to really cool people and, you know, content creators that I've been listening to and Chris has been listening to for years. And it's pretty cool. So yeah.
Well, what's the origin story? How'd y'all like become friends?
Our wives.
Mm-hmm.
Your wife?
Yeah. So
Hey, man.
our wives.
My friend is through my wife, so.
Our wives were roommates in college, and before they were friends in high school, and so they would get like, actually it's funny, like I think Will would get together with my wife and his wife, and they'd hang out and say, you know, the area that they lived in at the time, and then I would do that, and then eventually it was like, you know, maybe the husband or at the time fiance should meet each other, and so we went out for drinks, and I bought like a bunch of rounds of Long Islands.
Freaking idiot.
It's like, but after 5 Long Islands, he was good with me.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. Long Island smooth everything out. It was like at the end, it's like, he's in the games too. He's
Yeah.
good by me.
Halo, that's a plus.
Mhm.
But he's like, but this guy likes Fable 3. We'll have to work on
Exactly. I was just gonna say that. It's like, but he
Yeah,
likes
he's got
Fable 3. So,
He's got the same bad opinions on Back to the Future 4 as I do.
that.
I need
But
to
yeah.
go back and rewatch that. And also, are those comments still up? Because I'm kind of curious what parts of the videos they hated the most. Did they hate my ideas the most, or did they hate your ideas the most?
Dude, that subreddit account, the Reddit account that I used to post that is the one that got banned by the Star Wars moderator
yeah,
that hates my
right.
guts.
That's a whole nother story. That was really funny.
I had a tiff with a r/Star Wars moderator because
Yeah.
I disagreed with him one time, and then I posted something, and he said, "You're getting flagged for self-promotion. See you later." Oh my gosh, you've actually seen this Starship Troopers movie. I've seen this one. I have this one on Blu-ray, and my goodness, this is the weirdest Starship Troopers thing they could have explored in the second video or second
I'll
movie.
tell you what, though. Private Soda and 14-year-old Roanoke. I was like, man, this movie is awesome.
No, I thought it was awesome, but I thought it was such a weird departure from the first movie to go right to this.
It was like a more contained type of deal, you know? I guess.
And the first movie's based on the book, but then there's this, and it's like, what is this based on?
I'm ready, so I'm going to be covering the third one, and I'm kind of just like, let's see how this goes.
Well, if you need like a random cameo for any reason, let me know. I love these movies.
Absolutely.
All right. Is there anything else you wanted?
Let's see. You missed anything to discuss? Anything you'd like to ask us? Yeah. Okay. First, I don't want to sound like an idiot, but how do I actually pronounce krill? Right?
Yeah.
Krillcast.
Yep. Krillcast.
Yeah, right.
That's why I got the
Okay,
shrimp.
Krillcast. Why krill?
So this is a simple one. I'll let Will explain it for once.
Yeah, so it's just their names mushed together. So Chris and Will.
And the shrimp was born. Okay,
Yes.
that makes sense.
We
All
spent a lot of people were like, oh, we spent like days and weeks coming up with a cool name. Will and I spent like 5 minutes.
Yeah, and did not land on a cool name.
What about Wishcast? I don't know.
Well, it'd be
Well, like,
Wish.
What's the second one, Chris?
it was walrus, like walrus, like walrus. I don't know.
Wish.
Yeah, instead of a
What a
unicorn,
beautiful
I'm gonna have like, you know, the teeth.
It'd be the Wilrus though, not the walrus.
Wish.
So Wilrus cast. If we ever get like banned off the internet for Curlcast, we'll just switch to the Wilrus cast.
Yes,
There you
exactly.
go. You know, according to the memes online, you can just put like a mustache on it and be like, "Oh, I'm completely new here."
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll wear the old school movie glasses with the nose and the glasses and the
Exactly.
mustache. There you go.
So no problem there. Yeah, I think that's about it. As far as I'm sure I would have more questions, but I totally forgot to answer stuff on 10. Like I was writing stuff down actually. have a little checklist stuff.
Hey, you could have been worse though. You could have been like one of our guests that early on was like, I didn't even read your outline.
Yeah.
But we've had him
Yeah,
on
science.
several times after because we do like him. He's a cool dude, but he's just like, I'm gonna be honest, guys, I didn't even read this. Like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. I was like, well, all right. Well, familiarize yourself real quick and move on, I guess.
All right. Well, I do want to thank you for taking the time to do this interview,
thank you.
and hopefully we'll get through all these other segments in a reasonably timely manner that you'll be accepting and you'll be happy with.
It sounded so
Hanging
weird,
out.
Chris.
I don't know what I was saying. You know,
It's good.
engineering brain
Don't
does
get
not
mad at
always
me.
compute correctly. So, anyways, as always, I am Chris,
I'm Will.
I'm Roanoke.
and we will see you
On next CHRILLCAST. Bye, guys.